Yeah, so welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. So it's another afternoon cooking. So it's pork again, so that there is a hot soup for Terence. Yeah, so we're gonna answer question, some comment. Yeah. Don't move, mahal. It's okay. That's very close. That's okay. So Terence, what is your thought about no money, no honey in the Philippines?
Well, if you've got no money, it must be very tough.
No honey. What is your thought on that? Since you've been in the Philippines for long. Right?
I don't. It's that whole thing, but generalities do not work.
Okay.
Generally speaking. Right.
Okay.
So you can say, how could I'm British. How could I say in Britain everybody likes apples? Not everybody. Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
For instance.
Continue, mahal.
I'm going to talk to myself, but that's not unusual. The thing is that the whole idea that someone, somewhere, on the basis of their experiences, will say that everybody is the same. And it's not true. It can be seen to be not true. There are too many good marriages which are surviving very well and not a lot of money. And yet, there's still honey.
So you really, because there are some expat that, what is your thought about those expat that came to the Philippines and they have a relationship? We saw that in the news, right? And when they broke, the Filipina leave them. So it applied as no money, no honey. So what's your thought on that?
You mean when they broke up or when they have no money?
When the expat is broke.
I don't know how that can be.
Because
when expats run out of money, then evidently they were not here on a pension, on a retirement pension.
You're right.
And if you go to any country with insufficient funds to be able to support yourself and a possible family, then you must expect failure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I saw, remember there's an expat somewhere in Panglao. Remember one time somebody tagged us on that message us if we could visit that expat.
We went, but we didn't see him, did we?
And because it's kind of intriguing, because as far as the message saying that the expat, the foreigner is live in the small house under the mango tree. So we went there because we processed Terence.
Doesn't sound so bad, does it? Living in a small house under a mango tree?
No, it's just kind of piggery house, something like that. That's how the message.
I'm being facetious, honey.
Yeah, so we have other things to be in Tagbilaran, so we said to Terence, okay, we just try to go there. So we tried to locate, the expat because there's an address. And then when we went there, the neighbor said, oh, that one over there, just continue walking, and then there's a mango tree, that's where he lives. And then he said, yeah, that expat is speaking. And then when we went there and there's another house, we asked, and then he said, oh, it's in the hospital. So I said, okay, it's not, at least he's in the hospital, because the person that messaged us saying that he was sick and he's been, so that's where the message saying that it applied, that no money, no honey. I think it depends on the situations, different situations, different circumstances, but if you've been lucky and you've been able to manage yourself and able to think positive, as Terence always saying that if you think positive, the aura, the positivity will closer to you,
Yes, if you are a positive mindset, you are more likely to attract people to you who are also positive.
Because even though the situation is negative, not good, you still can able to turn it out into a positive, mindset. In other words, he said, oh, it can be okay. It will turn out to be okay. So.
Well, that's what you say.
Yeah. I always say sa Terence, it's okay. Everything will be okay. So yeah, with those people, there are expat that is not being luck when it comes to their partner, but as life and as what quotes being said, as what some quotations being said that being said that try and try until you find the right one.
Try and try again.
Yeah, try and try.
But the thing is, this is what I feel about expats coming out here, and I can be accused of having an opinion, which is all that I'm offering now. But it seems to me that there are different kinds of expats. There are expats that come here and they've organised things very well, and they're probably at the end of a very successful career, one way or another, where they've allowed for their retirement. I'm not describing myself now about being organised. I certainly wasn't. But there are some people that come here and they've got everything organised. They're handling things, and they meet the right person because they have that kind of a mindset. Now, a lot of people will say, oh yes, because you're describing somebody with money. And that's true. But remember that we do know one family that lives just outside Cebu.
Yeah.
And they don't have a great deal of money. He has told me several times that they really have to economize and live very simply and modestly. But they still have a good marriage, and they have one child, and they're happy. So the whole thing about money being the key,
It's not right.
it's really not true.
Yeah.
Right?
Depending on if both the partner, if the foreigner have kind of what do you call that, paranoid when it comes to money, like my saving is a small already.
You mean tight?
Yeah, tight. Because
Tight.
in other words, when you're tight and for example, you got in your mindset that I should have 500,000 reserve, and then suddenly that 500,000 become 100,000, right? So the foreigner get paranoid, saying, what if I get broke down, or what if I got some, so that's another thing, because it might be that because of your behavior, and it might be the misunderstanding between you and your wife, right? And you're gonna get always bang to bang head.
It happens.
So yeah, so it might be.
Yeah, I think that sometimes the people that come out here to live here, they have high expectations, and what do we always say? We keep our hopes high and our expectations low, and then you're not disappointed. But many of them come, and I've heard lots about mistakes that expats do, which include us, right or wrong. But in expecting it to be the same as the place that you came from is just stupidity. Because this is a foreign country. If you're a Brit, or you're an American, or you're Australian, German, Danish, whatever, you're coming out to a foreign country.
Wherever the culture is different.
Yes.
And
it is an entire culture.
Yeah, the entire culture, the environment, the people, the way what do you call that? The way you mingle with other people.
Yeah,
and at the same time, the culture,
way they interact, the way they communicate.
Culture, what do you call that? The language barrier. So.
The language barrier is a hidden minefield, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Because there is an apparency that everybody understands exactly what you're saying, because it crosses with any Filipino will seek to avoid confrontation. I'm not talking about they're afraid to fight for themselves. We're not talking about that, because actually, coincidentally, while we're on about it, the Philippine soldier, the average Philippine soldier, is as tough as you can get them. So that's not a case of that kind of confrontation. But if you speak to people in a store, if you go in a store, for instance, and you ask for, let's say you ask for strawberry jam, and the salesperson that you talk to doesn't know where that is, he will avoid embarrassment by every means possible by saying, we're out of stock, sir. And that prevents him from wandering around trying to find something that he doesn't actually even understand what you want. Asking for strawberry jam may be totally outside of his English capability. So you have to understand things like that. After a while, you take this with a pinch of salt. You just say, okay, thank you. Then you find yourself a competent-looking woman salesperson, and you say, do you know where the strawberry jam is? And she will say, come with me, sir. And she will almost take you by the hand and show you where the shelf is, and even take the jam off the shelf for you if necessary. Just amazing. And it's only when you get used to the fact that sometimes things are being said which are being said so as to avoid confrontation. Would you agree with that?
Agree.
Right. But you would agree anyway, because you don't want to have a confrontation.
Yeah, I really don't want to be in the confrontation, So there's an incident before. We went to the restaurant, right? I didn't mention the restaurant. So we went to the restaurant, and there's some guys, I think a lot, maybe 5 or 10. They're in the table. There are 2 tables, there that those guys are.
There are several tables.
Several tables.
A small restaurant.
Yes,
quite an intimate way of handling
to
things.
several tables, and then when we come in, the face of those guys are looking me and Terence, and then other guy said, "Oh, it's about money. Filipina going with money."
Isn't that the
and
one?
then the other guy, but they're already drinking beer,
Isn't, if I might interrupt, isn't that the one where there were 4 or 5 or 6 guys who had all been drinking?
Yeah.
And when you went in before me, before I got out of the truck, didn't we have 3 or 4 of our students with us?
No, different. That's different.
A different time, but the same.
Yeah, different instances.
Same situation.
So now they said, the other guy said, "Oh, another Filipina getting out from poverty." So and I don't want to. I always tell I didn't tell that to Terence, so I said to Terence, "There's no more vacant."
There's no what?
There's no more. I said to Terence, "There's no more vacant table," and then we go out. So.
You see, so a little white lie, which would be totally unnecessary to my mind as a Westerner. Why would you? I'm not going to be angry at that, but a Filipino will make up this little imaginary situation
It's full of people there.
to avoid any kind of confrontation.